Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our March roundtable. I find it very hard to believe that we are here and it's March. It seems like we were just starting our roundtables in August. So, Greg Stolzfus, would you like to do the opening, please?
Sure. Give me 1 second here. There we go. So one of the things as scouts that we look at is a character. And part of the purpose of scouting is to build character. One time a troop was asked if anyone could define character, and they got a variety of answers. One scout said character is thinking good thoughts. Another said it's being a good citizen. Another scout said it's having good morals. And finally, another one said it's being honest and courageous. Then finally, one young scout piped in and said, character is what you do when nobody's looking. So I encouraged us all to think about that for a moment and examine our own character and what we do when no one's looking. With that, Ellie, do you have the pledge and the oath and law?
Yes, I do.
We'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Scout Oath and Law. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And the Scout Law. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And I have to stop sharing. Was everyone able to see that? No. Oh, okay. All right. Somehow my PowerPoint did not share. Okay. Well, all right. My apologies. Okay. Um, Hopefully it will share when we get to other things later on. Okay. I also want to welcome from out of council, Sean Waite, to this evening. Sean will be speaking to us in a few minutes, but Greg Williams, you're
Yes.
up.
All right. Well, I have two folks that have joined me. So Steve and Brian, if you want to unmute and get ready when the slide comes up, you'll be ready to jump in here. Yeah, lots of things going on, and some of this you may hear in other places, but this Wednesday is our celebrity server event in Springfield. So if you're available to come on down to the fort, please come join us. You can find more information online. It's a fun evening. Bring some friends. And Mr. Scannell, Dr. Scannell, would you like to give us a little teaser for this event coming up?
Sure. So for those of you who were around in 2017, this is a similar format to the 2017 Eco Challenge Camporee that we did. It's conservation themed. The point of this is to expose the scouts to different career and educational opportunities that are related to conservation. So it's meant to be hands-on. It's meant to have partners who have a role in the conservation field that may appeal to the scouts. Each station will have, most of them are actually active stations. Some will be static displays. We don't have our full cadre of the participants yet, but we expect to have someone doing a demonstration on solar power opportunities. We have the Department of Conservation Resources, Forestry, our local district forester will be there. We will likely have someone with a bucket truck to show us how trees are trimmed, and that will not be a hands-on for the scouts. But it's an exciting one, and in the afternoon we will be working on conservation projects. It's sort of modeled after the Jamboree, and that was one of the things the scouts said they enjoyed the most, and I can attest to that after the last Camporee. So we'll be doing some conservation projects. We've got a variety of them. We're just trying to choose between. We are certainly welcoming volunteers to help man the stations or person the stations. The main reason is we need folks to act as sort of a scout liaison between some of these partner groups who may not have the scouting culture down or be familiar with the camp, so that if they have any issues, last time the tree folks thought it might be fun to take the kids up in the buckets. Well, we know they can't do that. So just to have someone there as sort of a liaison or maybe even a buffer, for lack of a better term. But we're looking forward to it. We'll come in on Friday night. All the events will happen on Saturday. We'll have a closing on Sunday. The leader's guide will be coming out shortly. Greg has done a lot of work on that, and if it hasn't been out yet, it's been because of me. So he and I will be getting together this week, and it should be released shortly. Anyone has questions? My number and probably my email too are both connected to the announcement. So please feel free to contact me, and if you're so inclined to come and volunteer, we'd love to have you.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, and we'll be that will be opening up very soon, everyone. And for this and the Cub Scout Spring event that Brian will give you a little bit of information about, we'll be looking for units to make an initial reservation with the deposit and estimated numbers. And so start planning. Please plan to come. We just want to make sure everyone knows Camporee is on, the Cub Scout Fun Day is on, Weeblos Wood is on. It's materials are coming out soon. So speaking of Cub Scouts, Brian, I know we haven't ironed out all the details, but if you want to share some thoughts. Not sure your mic's working.
I can hear.
I can hear Brian.
I can hear you.
Can hear him.
I was pretty sure. Anyway. So she's listening. In 2012, less than 40% of the people were paying for that the opposite party in the same party. Oh, some Democrats and Republicans, and people. But what happened now is, very easy to be really curious with people out there, and it's very interesting.
All right, Brian, if you're done, can you give me a thumbs up? All right, sorry, I'm not sure why I couldn't hear you on my end. Other Cub Scout events, all the District Pinewood Derby registrations are open, ready to go. So if your units finish their race, we ask that just the unit do the registrations now, and put everyone in that's planning to come to the event. That will stay open until I think it's the Thursday before maybe very early Friday morning. So check those registration sites. But if your race is done, feel free to get that taken care of now. And we thank those hosts. Just a reminder, summer camp registration's open. We're starting to now see some units that are a little later in their confirming of weeks in summer camp make their reservations. Cub Scouts are starting to make their camp kickoff promotion requests. So looking forward to people have come on in. If you have questions, let me or Joshua Hall know. We'll be happy to speak with you. Training. MBU had its first session, but the second session, we just learned that CPR and first aid will be offered during that day. And so more information will come out soon about that, but there will be an online prerequisite that folks need to complete prior to arriving. And as we've been announcing, our registration for our Scoutmaster and Assistant Scoutmaster specific IOLS and our Cub Scout Baloo trainings have been open and are coming up real soon. So recruit the folks to come on and join us. And then the regional Leave No Trace course is online as well. NYLT registration, I expect to open probably next week on the 11th, and prices are now on the site. So starts at the lowest summer camp rate for our loyalty at $500, but it follows a slightly different timeline for increases. And is our chief on? All right. I know this Saturday, anybody associated with the OA, if you want to go to ski Butternut, I think they're going tubing. So you can find the information there and then join them for their spring fellowship coming up in early April. I'm not going to go through these slides. They're in the slideshow at the beginning and the end of the meeting here. Just a reminder, rank requirements for Scouts BSA, Eagle Palm changes, and several merit badge changes. So find that information online. If you need more information, contact me directly and I'll send it to you. And Cub Scouts, we know it's coming. And Art has some more information about getting materials for this in his presentation coming up. But one reminder, I know you can't see this entire screen tonight, but current fourth grade Webelos are strongly encouraged not to start moving into the Arrow of Light requirements because the program is changing for them. So they want to wait till the new program starts in June, work on the electives right now for that group. And then Art gave us a video for this evening.
Good evening, Western Massachusetts Council. Art Labdell, your Assistant Scout Executive, here with some brief updates. Certainly wanted to let everyone know that our Scout Shop is open this coming Saturday on March the 9th from 10 to 2. So please come on in to do all of your shopping. We still are moving quite a bit of the blue and gold and Pinewood Derby material, as well as all of those advancements for whatever special meetings you have. While we're talking about the Scout Shop, just wanted to plug, we've had in the Compass for the last several issues an invitation for units to pre-order the new Cub Scout handbooks. Please do go ahead and place those orders. For us to turn over all of the handbooks in the Scout Shop is quite costly, and you're going to be purchasing those in the end anyway. So we ask that you do go ahead and pre-order those for a couple of reasons. One, we're able to buy up and have more of them come in, so they're available for people if we do know that we have committed orders. Also, from time to time, when we have had program changes in the past, we know that things quickly go on back order. So let us help us to help you by placing pre-orders for the new Cub Scout handbooks. Also, as a reminder, when folks are ordering things directly online from the national supply, we do not get any part of that, and you pay the same price if you buy it from us. So please do buy from us when you are able to do that. Thank you. On fundraising, we are currently wrapping up the Pancake and Syrup fundraiser. The last day to turn in orders is March the 14th, next week. So please do make sure that those orders are turned in. We also have noticed that there are also very few orders for direct ship. Again, just wanted to remind people that they can have products shipped directly to recipients, particularly those out of state that may be contacts of our scouts. The pickup for all of that is on March the 21st, and all payments are due on March the 28th. So please do wrap up the pancake and syrup fundraiser. We've had some good traction as well. We've had several hikes out to the Sugar Shack, both in conjunction with WOA and our pancake brunch. So that's a good thing as well. Also, if you're interested in seeing that one last time for the season, it is on Saturday, March 16th. So please do avail yourselves of that hike. We still have some popcorn available at final clearance prices in our Scout shop. The biggest markdown is on the cheese popcorn. Get it before it's gone. And all of the other products that we still do have various amounts. Coming up on this Wednesday, the 6th of March, we have the Celebrity Server. Please do come on out to that. Do like and share when you see it on social media. The event is going very well. It's a great event for adults to come down to the Student Prince in Springfield to support all of the celebrity bartenders. So please do come on out and support that event if able, or share it on social media so others can do the same. Membership. Wow. We have now finished 23 months of continuous membership growth, month over month and year over year. That's quite an accomplishment. We still have quite a ways to go for the month of March, but hopefully as recruitings are kicking off and happening, that we will be able to have a full 2 years of continuous growth. Speaking of that, currently the widget is open for units to put in their unit membership plans. Those are due April the 15th, so you do have a little bit of time to put those in, but probably should be doing the planning now so that you can put those membership plans in, and those membership plans are a requirement for All In for Scouting for earning benefits in the year of 2025, that you put in a unit membership plan now in 2024 and execute it, and then you will receive the rewards in 2025. So please do see those. Again, a reminder, there is a section on our council webpage at the very end that is a little bit of a catch-all. It's all of the membership as well as the forms library and all of those things all the way over on the right-hand side. So please do file your unit membership plan. Coming up on March the 19th is the Educators and Scouters meeting. That group is going to be a group that's asked to consult on a number of different things. One is to take a look at some of the program being delivered in schools. We've had an upturn in connections with some of our local school systems, and to have some folks that are educators, teachers, principals, aides, counselors, whatever it may be, to look over some of that. We also are starting to have some issues with access in schools. There are also some other programmatic things that come up from time to time. So please join us for that Zoom meeting on the 19th of March, Scouters and Educators. And finally, just one more reminder about how membership will renew during 2024, that we have now moved to an annual subscription, that at whatever point in time someone joined, they will be sent a link to renew for the next year. That link is sent to the individual, it is sent to the unit, and is sent here to the council with time enough for folks to take action on that. Again, in some cases, perhaps the unit will be paying. In some cases, perhaps the folks are on individual assistance and the council will be paying. In other cases, the families will be paying. That does kick off starting in April. There are only a few of our memberships that have an annual April renewal, but then as we start to move through the year, it will be all and various times. So very key to this is making sure that everyone's email is in the system, that there are some people that don't have an email in the system, or there are some people that have email addresses that are very, very old. Understand that we need to make sure that we get correct information into the My Scouting system. So thank you very much for your attention to that matter. Also, as a couple of fine details, as folks do approach that renewal link, the checkbox for subscription to Scout Life magazine will automatically be checked. So if you don't wish to subscribe to the magazine, you need to uncheck it. Likewise, there's also an option for auto renewal, so that when the next year comes along, your membership would automatically be renewed. That is also checked. So if you don't want to commit to perpetual renewal of your registration or the Scout Life magazine, you have to uncheck those boxes. So just wanted to give you a heads up on those things. And then finally, again, a just final reminder that, again, starting April 1st, there is no longer a new enrollment fee. So the first time that a youth enrolls, they don't need to pay that $25 that we have had for the last couple of years as an initiation charge. So that is going away. However, on the other side, both the youth and adult fees are going up by $5. So that is my report. Thank you, Western Massachusetts Council.
Thank you, Ellie.
Greg, is that everything from you?
It is. Thank you.
Okay. One other thing that I had received this week, or maybe even last week, was that Saturday, March 16th, from 9:30 to 4 p.m. is Old Sturbridge Village Spring Scout Day. And that is a $12 per scout cost for admission. There are workshops. And so if anyone is interested, like we don't have enough things going on in our own council, but if anyone's interested because the village is so close, go on to the Old Sturbridge Village website for that. And now our council commissioner, David.
I think Art and Greg have, and everyone has covered everything I had to say. So we can keep going. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, this evening I have the pleasure of welcoming Sean Waite. He has asked for a couple of minutes of our time. So Sean, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, and thank you for letting me crash your roundtable. So I'm Sean Waite. Among many of the assorted hats I wear, I'm on the Wood Badge staff for the upcoming Spirit of Adventure Wood Badge course that's coming up on the opposite side of the state. The course is taking place up in TL Store in New Hampshire. I think probably most everyone here knows what Wood Badge is, but it's our training course that is for advanced training for leaders. So it's a 5-day course where we learn all kinds of fun things and very useful skills that we can use both in scouting and outside of scouting. It's very, very useful leadership skills. Have you ever seen anyone wearing the beads around the neck or the like tan neckerchief? That is us. So I know you have a Wood Badge course coming up early next year, I believe.
Yes.
But ours is running April 12th, 13th, and 14th, and then May 18th and 19th. And unfortunately overlaps with the level 2 Leave No Trace trainer course, but it's a few of us wanted to do both of them. But if anyone's interested, you can reach out to me. I'll put the link down in the description below. So if you're interested in in the chat, sorry. you're interested in taking the course sooner rather than later, or if the dates for next year's course in Western Mass don't work, then definitely reach out and join our course. And I'll put, like I said, I'll put that in the chat, my contact and everything else. That's all I needed to say, though. So thank you very much.
Hey. Hey, thank you, Sean. And for those of you who don't know, I am the course director for next spring's course, which will be running in April and May. So Sean, I'll probably be asking to join one of your roundtables at some point for anybody who may have not been able to attend this year, but see if they want to come out west a little bit. So thank you for joining us this evening. I know it takes time from your evening to join us. Okay. Right. Next up, I see one thing in chat. Okay. Okay, Sean, thank you for putting that in. Let's see if I can screen share correctly this time for our share all participants. It's asking me about advanced sharing options. Okay, Greg, it's giving me a box about advanced sharing options. And then when I close it, I still can't get to where I share
How
my
about
screen.
at the top of that box, Ellie? Does it give you option for basic, advanced files and apps?
No, it's host only, all participants, and who can start sharing when someone else is sharing is host only and all participants.
Yeah, you want to just click on the share screen button. You're hitting the little caret.
Oh, there we go. Right, let's do this one. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Now I need to from start. Let's do it this way. All right. Unfortunately, Mike Zlogar couldn't be here this evening, and he was going to present a bit about emergency preparedness for leaders. So this is the information he was going to give you, and I've added a little bit more to kind of hopefully make it a little more entertaining. So first of all, let's be prepared without being a killjoy. And prepare for what? Transportation, weather, lost scout, don't forget those whistles, injuries, early activity or termination or evacuation. Also, along with that, I would like to not have to think about things like shelter in place or lockdowns. Equipment failures, scout leaders, or scouts who are not prepared. Our guide to safe scouting is our first line of defense and a very thorough line of defense and help. There's also the safe checklist, and we have the age-appropriate guidelines to help us out as we work on this. An emergency action plan. Think about what tools you will use to communicate. Let's keep it action-oriented. Keep it updated and current. And then think about what equipment or supplies you may need for the emergency action plan based on your activities. What could possibly ever go wrong at a scouting event? There are some great resources for us at the myscouting.org place. Everything from risk analysis to the camp out and the event safety checklists. So those are super important for people. How do we mitigate all of this? Well, we start with supervision. The last time I tried this, we had to move to a new house. Qualified supervision. That means having our leaders trained. And being active, but not overreaching. Those little den Cub Scouts don't need straitjackets. And then the reporting. There's some links here for incidents and for the near misses. We do need to report both of those. If it's predictable, it's preventable. So take that safety pause, pausing before we start, assessing the hazards, understanding how to proceed, sharing our plan, and executing. So, any thoughts or questions that anyone would like to add in? Okay. All right. I don't see Mike or Jackson with us this evening. Our safety moment is supposed to have been about first aid. And we all know that carrying a personal first aid kit, a patrol or den kit, and then a pack or troop kit or crew kit are very, very important in going along with the emergency preparedness. There are plenty of things online and Pinterest of different ways of different activities for getting our youth to build their own personal first aid kits. And we know that there is plenty of first aid training coming up, including at Merit Badge University with the CPR, things like that too. So at this point, Greg, would you please put us into breakout rooms?
The leaders meeting, I think it was last week, but they made the announcements for summer camp for the camp theme. And this year's camp theme for Moses is ancient Greece and the Olympics. And for summer camp for Cub Scouts, we're going to do Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. To kind of piggyback on outdoor adventure. All right. Things to know. For summer camp, there are 4 weeks that are being offered for the Cub Scouts. It's the 4 weeks of July. Yep. And so just off the website here, this is the cost for summer camp. So if you're coming for the full week, it's $550. Short week is be $30. In short week, you can either do, in the past, there's always been it's Sunday through Wednesday or Wednesday through Saturday. And there's also a day camp program where you come Monday through Friday. I want to say it's 8 a.m. to 5. That's offered for both the Cub Scout and the Scouts BSA members as well. You can find all this information on our council webpage. Some things to know about who can attend and things that you new updates for this year. They are not doing the family camping this year, so kids coming as lions are not allowed this year. Tigers entering first grade must have an adult partner for them. All Cub Scouts who are attending resident camp as provisional, so that's coming without your pack, to attend with adult partner. We're also recommending, but do not require, that day camp Cub Scouts attend with an adult partner, especially for our bear wolf. And they have some new ratios out for your attendance for your adult leaders and your adult partners for your scouts. Any questions?
Rebecca, I can jump in here too, and just a lot of folks were already doing this, but we've especially since post-COVID seen that scouts that are there on their own are struggling a bit more and benefit from having more adults. And the Cub Scout program at resident camp and the day camp is really designed for an adult and youth partnership. So having the adults there is critical. So folks can reach out to me with some questions around this. Some is based on new BSA policy requirements, and others are just things that we've seen as success up at Moses for our programs. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does the adult that goes with the child have to be a leader in the pack?
No. I don't know if you can see my arrow, but the bottom bullet under Cub Scouts, they have to be a parent or a legal guardian of a youth that is theirs, though. Those are the old, and those are new BSA requirements as of September 1st. So as far as the ratios go, and I know it's tricky with like, oh, we got to figure out our tigers and our bears and arrow light, et cetera, are different. But you can count the registered leaders as well as the parents and legal guardians in those ratios. But just note that unless they're registered with the Boy Scouts of America, they have to have another, let me say, if they are not registered with the Boy Scouts of America, they're there as just a parent guardian. They can't be supervising youth other than their own child without another adult there that is registered. So probably doing that already, but we need to be aware of that piece.
Greg, on the day camp parents, do they have to be, since they leave every day, do they fall under the 72-hour rule?
I'm not sure what the 72-hour rule.
Where if they,
for the adult,
because if we do overnights with Cub Scouts, it can be the parent legal guardian, they don't need to register. But now obviously with resident camp, that's over the 3 days and they have to register, right? The 72-hour
no,
rule.
it doesn't matter. There is no 72-hour for the registration anymore. Any adult that is staying overnight at a Scouts BSA program either needs to be registered adult with the exception for Cub Scouts only, they can be the parent or legal guardian of a scout that's there, and that's even for one night.
I don't remember the requirement that Cub Scout parents or legal guardians had to register even for one night.
They do not. That's why I said there's an exception for Cub Scouts, but they have to be a parent or legal guardian, that's even for one night.
Yep. If we had a parent or legal guardian that was coming just for the days with their scout,
they
don't have to. There's no reason for them to be registered. Okay.
They do not need to be registered. No, but we will require them to show evidence of youth protection training, valid youth protection training.
Okay.
Yeah, righty. What to expect from summer camp this year? So this year there's a lot of changes coming in with the new program. So we're going to be working on a lot of the different electives. We were going to be working on our shooting sports, our BBs, and our archery. We'll get a chance to use the climbing wall like we usually do. We'll get to go swimming, as long as we're not sheltering in place like we have been a couple times last year. We have a lot of crafts, a lot of activities coming up. I'm really hoping that this year I can kind of make my two groups, have my younger scouts, my Tigers, Wolves, Bears, working together as different areas. And then the older kids, the Weebles and the Air of Lights, kind of having a scouting program specially tailored for the older scouts. So they have different activities. There we go. It lost my button. I'll try. There we go. So I'm hoping to be able to have the two separate programmings for the younger and the older scouts. And that's what I have.
So to make that happen, we need more staff. And so that is one area we get folks that are come to camp, but they will not put down that they'll work with our Cub Scouts. So I have some folks that we're working on, but Rebecca needs help. So if you know folks that come on in, we know that we depend on the adults that come with the units, but to be able to organize the 4 weeks of the summer, we are looking for adults and youth to get involved. I am working on someone to be able to have a separate shooting sports area for Cub Scouts this year. Which would be able to give them some more time there and help with the splitting of the Cub Scouts versus the Weeblos and Arrow of Lights.
I'm always looking for feedback, information. If anybody's likes to sit down with me and finish, help me work on the plans for this upcoming year. Have any thoughts or ideas? I would greatly appreciate them as well. But it should be a fun and exciting camp.
Which units are planning to go? Which units here are planning to go?
272 is planning to go.
All right. What week are you going to be there?
I think we were looking at the 3rd. I don't remember. We're having a committee meeting this month that we're gonna. Well, I'll be reminded as to what week we're planning to go because I know Josh knows. I know Josh knows the week. I'm just really excited about the theme because. Oh, what was that, Josh?
We are registered for the 3rd.
See, I knew he knew. I just didn't remember. I'm excited for the theme though, because I was worried I was never going to get my kid to go camping ever again after that rain that we had. But he loves Percy Jackson, so maybe I can convince him.
One thing I learned in camp last year, it's not rain, it's liquid sunshine. Just keep that straight.
Yeah.
Unless it's lightning, and then you sit in very hot, shut huts for hours on end, listening to a noise that'll make your head split open. So that's different. 209 is going week 4, as always, at least for the last couple of years. We're going to try to have more Cub Scouts than Boy Scouts or Scouts BSA that week again, like we did last year.
I was going to ask if you were going to bring the whole pack again.
We're up to 44 Scouts now, so we could have quite a few go. So we'll see.
Wow. Very good.
I think pack 168 probably 3rd week of July. We're still in the planning and see what scout can go this year.
I have a quick question for the group. What packs offer incentive for your scouts to go, like monetarily wise?
For 209, we give them a portion of their popcorn sales from the fall to apply to any scouting event. So like a percentage of our commission we'll set aside for them, and they can apply it to whether it's Yukon days or fall fun days or things like that, but they can also apply it to scout camp. One of the ways we also get the discount is through the all in for scouting, and then also the loyalty discount helps too. If you keep going every year, you get that loyalty discount to bring the prices down.
Okay.
Pack 94 is coming the second week.
Any first timers this year? We're all Greg, you're a first timer. Sounds like we got a bunch of veteran packs coming in that have lots of experience.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing, one suggestion, or one piece of advice you want to give from your experience, what you've learned that you want to give to other packs?
Minimize walking between locations. So if you're going from waterfront to somewhere else and you have an hour break, do the changing down at the waterfront. Don't walk all the way back to your campsite and then go to that's the death march of Cub Scouts after lunch and then an afternoon of waterfront and then trying to go somewhere else at 3 o'clock. And don't get Bunker Hill. It's a really far campground to walk from everything.
We started last summer trying to put all the scouts in Ethan Allen or nearby camp to there if the weeks that we filled that up. And I think that was well received because it's more central, right next to the primary activity building. And we try to create a Cub Scout area of camp amongst the various groups that are there. But yeah,
agreed.
Definitely.
We're not doing our troop this year, so we're avoiding that problem that we had last year.
Well, it works. There's pros and cons, right? But the one piece of advice I would share that I've heard from folks is to remember that while there is a lot to go that you can do at camp, you don't have to do it all, and you and your units get to decide what you ultimately participate in. So our Cub Scout program is more of a fixed program. Here's the activity for you to do if you're up to do it. But if you need a break or a couple of kids need a break, taking that time and missing something is probably well worth it in the long run.
Yeah, we've done that on some, especially when they're dying to go to the Gaga Bell pit all the time, and then trading post and all that stuff. So setting aside sometimes to just go to that for an hour to take a break and not have to think about it. And a planned activity does help.
Anybody else?
I'd say also, if you have a picky eater, bring snacks. Like, bring snacks and like have that bear box like filled with snacks, because that was my struggle in life. My child like barely ate dinner. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna starve to death. Like, but snacks.
Yeah, or bring stuff and to bring it to the kitchen that that either you can prepare or reach out to the chef Cookie and see if there's something that he can make particular for them. I mean, we can't go too crazy, but sometimes having it up there might be easier or something more substantial for them.
About 2 minutes left. Anybody else have anything to share?
Dry socks.
Dry socks, yes. Extra shoes, always a good thing.
Packing in the Rubbermaid totes.
Yep, Rubbermaid totes, that's a good one.
Yep.
You could hose it out at the end of the week. I'm sure it'll be stinky.
Yes.
How about things that you do with your pack prior to coming to camp just to get them hyped up and excited? I know Brian's Pack 303, they make their own t-shirts that they design and just kind of build up the excitement. Other things people do? Or Brian, other things you do?
plan your decorations for your camp ahead of time so you can win all those brooms. Unless you're in week 4, because those brooms are ours. But the kids really like it when they get the brooms and stuff, and especially if they're beating the older scouts, they find it very, very rewarding.
I can give away my biggest secret. We schedule a t-shirt color of the day. So we don't give them t-shirts for every day, but we say Monday's blue, Wednesday is green, Thursday is red, or whatever. And it makes us look really cool walking around together, and it forces them to change their clothes.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
They're clean-ish.
One thing, Greg, that I might suggest, Greg Williams, for on the cleaning schedules for the Cub Scout camps, if you can maybe have them double up on the showers, because cleaning the CTSs is an interesting endeavor with Cub Scouts.
We are in the Scouts BSA breakout, and we will be recording this session for later review. I do want to let David O'Leary speak. He asked for a few minutes to make an announcement. So if Dave, if you're ready, if you would like to make your presentation.
I am here and I'm unmuting. The last couple of years, I know that some units have talked about doing some kind of high adventure trip, but due to the pandemic and then planning and then the Jamboree being scheduled at the last minute and et cetera, for a variety of reasons, high adventure trips did not happen. I also know that there are a lot of troops that only have 1 or 2 or 3 older scouts, kind of 13, 14 and older. So we're talking again about doing some kind of council high adventure trip, not for the summer of 2024. That's coming up pretty soon and wouldn't give us much time to raise money and get registered and, do all the physical preparation and those sorts of things. But for the summer of 2025, we're talking about a trip. And so I'm interested in finding out if you have older scouts who you think might be interested, and if so, what they, which kind of trip they might be interested in. There are backpacking trips, and we can go mountain climbing, we can do canoe camping. And related to that, if there are adult leaders who would be interested in a trip. And this is usually, and of course, the families are always going to be concerned about the cost. But also the adult leaders, frequently, we don't all have 2 or 3 or 4 weeks of vacation a year to, so basically trying to understand how long of a trip. The shortest trips are about a week or kind of a long week, 8, 9 days, probably going to upstate New York or to Maine. And then they can extend to much further than that, going to Philmont in New Mexico or Northern Tier or Sea Base down in Florida, that would last longer and be more expensive. So anyway, trying to get a feel for all that. If you're interested or you think you have scouts who might be interested, again, for a summer 2025 trip, just if you can put your name and contact information and your troop, your name, email address, and your troop or ship number. Do we have any ships here, posts, etc.? Anyway, and I will follow up with you. I'm also working on a survey. So if you watch the Compass and next month Roundtable, we'll have a kind of a survey that'll help people kind of, what are some of the questions we're trying to understand. I'd like to make a decision between now and in kind of in the June timeframe, so we can announce something and then have a full year to plan a trip. So anyway, watch for more information, but look forward to hearing from you. And I'll put my contact information in the chat also.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, I'm going to hand it off to TJ and Mary, who put together some information regarding cooking and safety.
All right. See if I can share my screen here.
If you can't, I might need to promote you, but it looks like you can. Great.
All right. Can everybody see this, I hope?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, our breakout we had talked about, we're going to be talking about cooking and fire safety, as you can see in the slide. Thinking about it, breaking it down simple to the cooking merit badge and the 5 basic cooking techniques we use in the scouting program. So the slides you're going to see for our breakout are going to be based on baking, boiling, broiling, frying pan, simmering, steaming, microwaving. Of course, we can use that at every campout. Grilling, foil cooking, and even Dutch ovens, which I know is Mary Benjamin's forte. So for our cooking safety, as you know, requires attention to several key safety concerns. One, of course, we want to avoid burns, and the fires should be a major focus when utilizing them in their campouts. Always be careful not to catch on things on fire, such as paper towels, dish towels, and pot holders, which from my experience, and I'm quite sure with everyone else, it has occurred every now and then at 1 or 2 campouts. Of course, the circle around the fire is to be understood and recognized so that when you're cooking, you have your area to utilize the fire with for cooking and not have everybody gather around. Be sure to use dry pads, hot pot tongs, and handles for heated pans so you're not worried about burning yourself. Hot liquids and grease might also cause burns and will also avoid spills and splatters. It is good always to have a first aid kit available, and if possible, a fire extinguisher. Knowing that cuts are always a risk with knives, so practice your safety and, of course, utilize your first aid kit. It's very important for proper food storage and handling, and the importance when camping out for periods of times during the summer, winters, and every season. Make sure your food is stored properly and refrigerated, even if you have ice in the chest. Leftovers after every meal are always good, but of course, storage always brings the critters to the campfire, so you want to make sure that food is properly stored away. And of course, cleaning. As you wash your hands with soap and water, you know the process of the 3 stages of washing and cleaning up your dishes. And of course, we also want to be aware of food-related allergies. So Matt or Mary, would you like to take over on this slide?
Baking is my thing. So with baking, you're definitely doing direct or indirect dry heat. And I agree with Ellie's comment. Welding gloves are great for any of the cooking that we do in camp. But with baking, depending on what you're using, you're either using a Dutch oven to bake in on camp, or you might be using a box oven as they're depicting here in the pictures. Bonus points for anybody who can tell me what a charcoal briquette burns at in a Dutch oven box or in a cardboard paper box there. Any temperature degrees, anyone?
180?
I think it's 35 per briquette.
25.
25,
but
way
very
off.
close. Yeah. Well, 180 is a good temperature, and you do some mathing, figure out how hot you want to bake it at.
you do some mathing and figure out how many coals you need, throw them in the box, and you can bake whatever you can normally bake in your regular oven. Dutch oven, similar concept, coals underneath, coals on top. You always want to make sure, though, I will give you my one piece of advice on the baking and camp thing. Find a flat surface to do this on, please. Saddest thing ever is when you bake like a really good set of brownies or a cake or something, and you don't realize that your box is kind of tipped, and you have like a very thin burnt end of a cake and a very undercooked end of the other cake. So basically with a box oven like this, make sure you have some airflow in there so that the coals don't just burn out and they actually maintain the heat. And, you know, if it's a long bake, you just want to make sure that you're doing something like checking to make sure that your coals are still hot and the box is maintaining a temperature. You can do tons of stuff. I've done brownies, cakes, little cinnamon rolls. Pretty much if I can bake it in my oven, I can bake it in a box oven and do a lot of the same baking. If we had had the in-person session tonight, my plan was to do my pie for Pie Day. Was actually going to be done in a Dutch oven, so you could see the Dutch oven experience and taste the food that came out of it, even when it wasn't just like a one-pot meal kind of thing.
All right, thanks, Mary. We're moving on. Boiling. Matt?
Sure, boiling is one of my specialties. I can make pasta. No, but
there you go.
Yeah, pasta is a perfect example of something you might want to boil. We can also cook things like rice or even things like sausages or hot dogs, or you can cook meat by boiling it. So be aware that boiling can be difficult if you're in high elevation. So you need to take that into account if you're planning to do any cooking at high elevation. What's nice is you don't need a lot of equipment for boiling. You just need a nice pot that can withstand the heat and something to stir your water with. This is also an example of a place you want to make sure you have a good level surface. I've certainly dealt with unfortunate extinguishing of my fire by an unstable surface for my pot. So be careful of that. You'll need to heat from the bottom, so you'll need a good set of good flame, and you can use campfire like this, or you could use a camping stove to boil. Be aware that you need to kind of maintain that temperature to maintain the boil, and some food takes a while to boil, so you need temperature for a while to maintain water boiling. And some things you can cook are things like eggs, pastas, of course, vegetables, and things like that. And just be very careful, because not only does the fire cause potential for burning, but also the water and the steam are also all very dangerous if you're not careful. So some things to be aware of.
Thanks, Matt. Broiling is one of my specialties. Of course, grill boiling, as you can see, shish kebabs are always a great way of boiling and a great source of a variety of choosing for a evening meal, away from the standards of what maybe some of your scouts are always choosing to do. But of course, it's using direct heat over the oven and on an open fire. Meat is a great way, as you can see here, such as steaks, ribs, and even pork chops are basically broiled for consistency. And you can pretty much watch it, making sure that it's not overcooked. If it's not watched and maintained, you know darn well a steak cooks really quickly and turns into a briquette. Even placing on a dish on top of a racket oven, you're going to watch your heating elements. Sorry. Usually a grill at this point. Camper stove, you're not going to get too much of a broiling aspect to it. So this is a grill issue. You can bring the small grill. Some of the campgrounds publicly have small grills in their area. Tongs and an oven are always great pieces of equipment when grilling, because you know the fires get rather hot. Broiling usually is done, as you can see here, as around 500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's all depends on your elevation. Fish, steaks are broiled sometimes. high heat will destroy herbs, so you want to watch that when you're using herbs. Parsley burns easily. But broiling is, as you can see, is a common source of scouting in one of the meals, but normally is represented with grilling. Want to do a rotation? Want me to continue, Mary and Matt?
I'll take pan frying for you.
Okay, Matt.
Sure. So we can cook over flames or on a grill with pan frying. That's usually done in a frying pan or similar vessel. You want to be aware that pan frying is a good way to prepare relatively quickly for a large group. You can do be aware that you may have to split up your portions. So take the time to plan your meal and make sure that you have enough time to prepare for people. You might need to keep food warm while you're doing the rest of the frying. My experience with pan frying is things like pancakes are a good way to you can do that in a pan. You can also cook meats, of course, things like that. Um, have a good sturdy pan with a nice safe handle and a spatula ready to prepare. You'll also need cooking oil, and that's relatively easy to bring along with you in a small container. You need to be aware that the oil is very dangerous when it's at high temperature, and you can be dealing with the potential for fire if the oil gets too hot. So keep an eye on the oil and make sure your scouts are prepared. You may need to also be aware that some areas of the pan are going to be warmer than others. So be careful of that. And my troop itself was known for something called Cajun pancakes. So it can be a pretty quick way to burn your food. So be very careful of that. So yeah, plenty of different foods you can cook, things like eggs, steaks, vegetables, and sautés, of course. So pan frying is a great way to cook when you're camping.
Thanks, Matt. Mary, you want to talk about simmering?
Yeah, simmering is basically what Matt said about boiling, but it's at a slightly lower temperature. I think it's at 212 degrees. I think it qualifies as simmer. But basically, anytime you're long cooking something, you want to get like vegetables soft or anything like that, you're going to use a simmer. Slightly below 212 degrees.
Got it.
Yeah, so basically, it encourages the food to get cooked.
Yeah, commonly what? Well, a stew at a camp would be under the definition of a simmer.
Yeah, stew or anytime you're like sweating down vegetables or anytime you're just cooking something, you'll have it like a low rolling, usually a little bit of liquid, a little bit of a barely a bubble.
Okay. Steaming. Well, who wants it?
You can take steaming.
Okay, thanks. So like boiling, when we're simmering something, basically, as we know, steaming is just working with boiling water. As you can see, the metal tin, the basket with that's asparagus? That's asparagus.
Yep.
You know darn well at every camp out that your scouts want to have a steamed asparagus with every meal. I've known no scout whatsoever has chosen this as part of their meal plan for a camp out. But of course, if you're utilizing boiling water and you're cooking pasta and utilizing a pot and using it for two things at once or one after another, adding a steaming would be good for utilizing that after you cook your pasta, and maybe just steam and do some vegetables for maybe the adults as opposed to the scouts in the troop. But once again, both can be utilized with a open fire and, of course, a stove at a campsite. Dumplings are a great way of enjoying a steamed meal if anybody wants to venture into doing that. But steaming, as you can see, is basically the use of boiling water with a strainer to utilize the steam for the cooking aspect of your meal. And of course, microwaving. We all know that we can take a microwave right into the campsite anywhere at Moses, plug it in, and have scout popcorn at any point of the day. commonly, if you're having a gathering at your troop and want to utilize a snack or activities and utilizing the microwave usage is, of course, it's going to be more at an organized indoor event as opposed to it would be for an outdoor. I don't think we really have to go into a in-depth explanation here in regards to what a microwave is and how we use it. But once again, in regards to the 10 uses of cooking through the cooking merit badge, it is talked about in regards to the use of microwaving and its convenience that you're able to utilize it with when you're cooking indoors.
Any questions for anybody from anything that we've presented so far this evening, whether it was in the breakouts or the other information beforehand? The only other thing is Fritz. Are you still here, Fritz? Oh, is Fritz still with us? I wasn't sure if
I'm here.
Fritz. Okay. I wasn't sure if you had wanted to say anything about Philmont this evening.
I won't say anything about Philmont today, but I do have a riddle.
All right.
What is the only date on the calendar that is also a command?
My son's birthday.
Leap day.
Brian?
March 1st.
March 4th.
March
4th is correct. Yes.
Yep.
Very good.
Okay. Right. And Heather, you had wanted to mention something?
Yeah, so we have some that signed up for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's going to be in Holyoke. If you cannot make it to the event, please tune in online or on your local news station, and you will see all of our participants from all over that will be marching in the parade.
Awesome. All right. Anyone else with anything?
I just put the slide deck from the opening program notes in chat for folks to download.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. So seeing nothing else, Mary, you have closing this evening?
Yeah, Matt, if Matt can try to share my slide for me, because it's so much easier if he does it than I do. Okay. So this month, and this is kind of geared more towards the Scouts BSA session, truly. So this month, young Scouts are learning something about food and cooking and how to use recipes to whip up a tasty meal. I hope you're learning that following a recipe is vital to good cooking unless you're satisfied with hot dogs and hamburgers all the time in camp. You've probably found out that a pinch of salt, a dash of cinnamon, or a teaspoon of sugar makes all the difference. In fact, everything in the recipe has a reason for being there. Scouting is like a recipe for living. We call the ingredients our ideals, our oath and law, our motto, our slogan. You might say that Scouting's recipe for living calls for a cup of each of the 12 points of the Scout Law, a tablespoon of good turns, a heaping cup of duty to God and country, and a couple dashes of duty to self, that is. Physical, mental, and moral fitness. Add a quarter or two of fun, mix well, and you have good scouting. But if we ignore one of the ingredients, the scouting dish doesn't taste as good as it should. Let's remember that for good scouting and a full, satisfying life, each of scouting's ingredients is important. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mary, and all of the Roundtable team for all of your expertise this evening, and have a great month of March. We will be letting you know we are working at having a hybrid meeting on April 1st. So we will be letting you know through the compass whether we are doing that or whether we will be via Zoom. But it is April 1st. So if we do have an in-person component, I need to come up with a really strange food challenge. So, all right. Until next month, please everyone be safe and have a wonderful, wonderful scouting experience. And enjoy spring.